This is Mary Jo for Off the Trails, and welcome to Marietta, Ohio. Also known as River City, this town was founded in the 1700s and named after Queen Marie Antoinette of France. We're in Harmon Village, a place where you can shop and eat and enjoy the historic buildings. Founded in 1785. That was cute. It's a very pretty little area. It has the old sidewalks. Here in the park is the paddle wheel from the old paddle wheeler. There's some cars from the old Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. The bridge was built as a covered bridge in 1856. Then it was converted to a railroad bridge in the 1870s, and in 1962 it was turned back into a footbridge. The trestle is still here. And you can use this bridge to get to Harmon Village from Marietta on the other side of the river. It's a charming neighborhood. The old streets are still in place, made out of brick. This is a place for antiquing. It's an interesting sculpture arrangement in this little park. Now here's a big deal. Harmon had its own post office in the 1860s. Today it's part of Marietta. Some lovely old homes. This is one of the museums in Harmon. Stopped into the Busy Bee for a cold drink. Looks like a nice, reasonable selection of some tasty food. Historic neighborhood. This is a pretty building. Here's Harmon Tavern. Across the street is 3rd Street Studio. The old neighborhoods have the tree-lined streets. This recalls the days of the old hitching post with the horses. This is a beautiful home with a great view. This is the site of Fort Harmon, built in 1785. This was the frontier then. In 1788, this was part of the Northwest Territory. Hard to believe, right? Midwestern Ohio. The Campus Martius Museum, which is right behind me, details some of the history of this area of the country then. Let's take a look inside.
River flowing south into the Ohio River. And the story kind of begins with General Washington at Valley Forge when it looked like we're going to lose the Revolutionary War to the British. Washington said, men, to his officers, men, if we lose the war to the British, I know where we can go, escape, and start life over. He talked about the Ohio Valley. He had been here. It was a fort for protection. The Indians were friendly at first, but when more and more white men came onto their lands, you can see where they rebelled. So there was an Indian war. 2 mounds are left. One is our library on 3rd Street. It's just a large mound that you can still see. And then the cone is around. There's a big cemetery, and there are more Revolutionary War officers buried there than any other place in our country, because so many of them were part of this 48 men that came here to start a new settlement, start life over. Like Revolutionary War. He's a very important man, but he died young. He had TB, came here hoping it would restore his health to be in this Ohio Valley. There's a neat drawing, a painting of the fort, stylized somewhat, but this is what they had hoped would be pretty much. And we lived here, but then the Indian Wars began, and they had to stay pretty much inside until they agreed a treaty, and then they moved out. Most of the people took their houses apart because their mortise and tent together, and then wooden pegs hold them in. so they could take them apart. And a lot of these people moved out onto farms, and in the city there's some of these. But one of the main clues they found, this during the years modern night, this is just a plain wall. When they took it apart and opened up the wall, here's a fireplace behind the wall.
Yeah.
Instead of tearing it out, they covered it, thankfully, because the crane, the movable crane, to pull it out and put things in without getting burned. So it's very typical of a New England home. They built it. Mrs. Putnam, she wanted it to look like her lovely home in Massachusetts. She left. And these are two of his 6 daughters. 6 daughters and 2 sons. They all came. All the family came. It's amazing how they came as a group. One was married, lived next door with her husband and baby. But the others all stayed here. So you can see why they wanted to make the house larger by adding in this room for the music for a wedding of their granddaughter in this room. It was also used down at Congregational Church for hymn singing. They used a cello to start the hymns. These Roman numbers, the 1, 2, and 3. And in Rufus Putnam's journals, he told the men how to saw the wood, make the planks, lay it out on the ground, and how you're going to put things together, and how you put the numbers together to you knew how dried vegetables, apple, herbs. This is large. They probably have a couple more bedrooms over there, I'm guessing. I don't know this shows you the rope beds they used. And I love to tell the kids, you know, we hear that night, night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite.
Right.
Well, the sleep tight means, it means to tighten up the ropes on your beds, tighten them up, because they stretch. They would stretch, and there's a rope winder here that helps straighten all the tight as we do. A lovely mattress, if you'd like to buy that. Nice strong. Pull it out at night for the kids. In the cradle. And the Hepplewhite and the Chippendale are both original, really old, but they came with them across the mountains, covered by the key.
Yeah, it's the last bedroom.
Because they honored Marie Antoinette by naming Marietta for Marie Antoinette.
Right.
They honored the French because the French did come toward the end of the Revolutionary War down at York, Virginia, and they helped win the war. So they honored the French by naming it after her queen. And she was there before because the government had sent men here to keep squatters out, because before that was still Indian land where we are now. Here's the husband, just broke the swing. And this is Mary Martin Spencer. Billy Martin Spencer.
Stepped outside to look at the garden. I think this is the tallest hill I've ever seen. Hasn't this been a great tour so far? This is the land office. This is the office where the early pioneers to Ohio came to get their land.